Watch me do this haircut in 20 minutes. My name is Andre Morales and I've been a barber for 9 years. Now early on in those 9 years, I used to take forever on haircuts. I'm talking about an hour and a half, 2 hours. I don't think I ever went above 2 hours. And then I've also done really quick haircuts. And today is going to definitely be a quicker haircut on my guy Owen. So we're going to be doing a faux hawk. So I'm establishing that bald line at the top of the arch, and then rounding it behind the ear, and then dropping it towards the back. So usually in my haircut tutorials, you'll see cuts and edits and spicing out excess footage. But in this one, all you're gonna see me do is zoom in and out. And this is just straight footage from the camera. I'm not cutting anything out. So as you can see, I'm grabbing the camera. But what I'm trying to do right here by establishing this bald line is move as quickly as possible. I think a lot of times as barbers, we spend a lot of time on the bald line trying to get it perfect. But it does not have to be perfect. It just has to be solid, right? It should round consistently. But really, other than that, it doesn't have to be as sharp and as clean as a lineup. So I just want to get the hair off so that way I can begin my blend. So I'm going to take a step in front of the client, make sure it's even on both sides. Now, I wish I could do every haircut in 20 minutes, but this one specifically is a little easier to do in 20 because it is a faux hawk and it isn't a kid with no beard. So if I was doing a haircut on someone else, like an adult who usually have larger heads and beards, this would take longer, anywhere from 30 to 40 minutes. But today I'm going to do 20. So I'm going to come in with my lever all the way open, and I'm going to go up about, I would say, a 1/4 inch or a 1/2 inch. And we're still maintaining that round shape. But you can see I'm cutting quicker, but I'm not rushing. I'm not like flying through his head. I'm having nice, purposeful passes of the clipper, being sure that everything that I do gets us closer to that end goal or that end result. I don't want to do any unnecessary steps. And if you guys are enjoying like the rawness of these tutorials just like this, let me know, and I'll continue to post them. Now, the reason I didn't do even the raw audio on top of the raw footage is because I play music at the barbershop, right? And I can't really post footage with music on it on YouTube because of copyright stuff. So that's why we're doing the voiceover today. So now we have our one guard open, and you can see right above that lever open with this one guard open, this blend is coming together already. So my goal with this haircut is to not use anything above a 2 guard. So anything above a 2 guard, I'm going to do some clipper over comb. So right here, I have my 1 guard closed and that line under the one open. I'm going ahead and trying to lighten up as much as possible. And my goal here is to establish all my guidelines going up and then blend my way down. So now I'm coming in with my clipper closed to get rid of that bottom line. And then I'll open up that lever as we move up within this blend. And already we're 3.5 minutes into this haircut and I'm almost done with his left side. Now, if it isn't perfect on your first time through, don't stress it, because what you're going to see is after we go ahead and do the lineup and the style, there's going to be certain things that we need to go back in detail. So try to get through your steps as quickly as possible and then save some time at the end for the detail work. And now we're going to do some clipper over comb right where we left off. And with the clipper over comb, I find it to be more efficient than switching guards back and forth because I can use this from anything a 1.5 and above. So I'm coming in with this comb, flaring out, and I have my lever all the way open, getting rid of anything sticking out. And as you can see, it's coming together. And when I'm coming up against the hair, like as if I had a guard on it, that is when I'm trying to blend. But when I'm going to the side, I'm debulking. So we're 4.5 minutes into this left side of the haircut, and the thing is looking pretty clean. I'm like, dang, bro, look how quick I did it. And now after we go ahead and pass the clipper a couple more times, we're gonna move on to the other side. So my system is pretty simple, right? If he was gonna be trimming the top, I would go ahead and establish my bald line and then the top, and my goal would be to blend from the bottom to the top with my steps. So pretty efficient, pretty clean. Now we're gonna have our 1.5 guard with the lever closed, And I'm gonna go ahead and taper down his front lineup because I don't want a lot of overhanging hair or poof on the lineup. I want it to be as clean as possible, so that way the lineup can last as long as possible as well. And now we're working with that 1.5 guard, trying to blend out that line under the clipper over comb. And down in the comments, let me know, what is the quickest you have ever done a haircut? I know for me, the quickest haircut I ever did was in barber school, and it was about 15 minutes. I know for some people 15 minutes is like, dang bro, that's a long time, because I know barbers that can do 15-minute haircuts that are actually pretty decent. But my goal is to not be that barber. I just want to be efficient as I can. So the 15-minute haircut was in barber school, and now we're hitting the bottom of this fade with our shaver, and we're about the 6-minute mark here, and we're pretty much completed with this left side of the fade. So as you can see, I zoom the camera back out, and we have about 14 minutes left to work with this haircut. And granted, I think I could have did this haircut even quicker than 20 minutes if I didn't have to worry about the camera. I think I could have knocked this out in about 13 to 15, but because I'm adjusting the camera, making sure it's in focus, it took me a little longer. But we have our bald line, and then our next step is our lever all the way open. And you'll see I'm covering a good distance with this lever open, because what I see a lot of barbers do is make the width of the guideline so small because they're scared to raise the blend, that you just give yourself more work towards the end because you need to detail and stretch that blend out. But if you give yourself room to blend by making that guideline a little wider, you can really get through the blend on the first take. Give you guys a better view of this side. So again, that is our lever open, then our 1 guard lever open going right above that, and we want to go up about that same width. And with this 1 guard, I'm really exaggerating that flick out motion, and as you can see, it's blending into the sides and back pretty nicely already. Like, I think I could come in with clipper over comb after this 1 guard and blend into the top with no problem. And now we went ahead and closed that 1 guard to lighten up that line right under. Like I said, I'm keeping all the footage, no cuts. And now we're going to come in with the clipper closed to get rid of that bottom line, and we're going to open it up as we move up within this blend. And as you can see, I've seen people with haircuts like this out in public, and they look pretty okay with how it looked, right? So worst case scenario, I line my boy up and send him out like this, and it would be all right. But obviously, we don't only want to do quick and efficient haircuts. We want the haircuts to be as clean as possible. So after this, you're going to see me do some clipper over comb as well. But when you have a system of cutting that works, you're able to do haircuts in an efficient manner at a consistent level without stressing. And if you want a system of cutting to take your haircuts to a whole nother level, join my online training program by going to the link in the description and tapping on Dre Clipper Hands Academy. And let me teach you my system of cutting that has made me tons of money and allowed me to make content, cut hair at the same time, because I'm able to do it efficiently and effectively. So again, tap the link in the description, and I hope to see you in the online training. Now we're gonna do some clipper over comb. As you can see on this right side, I'm coming at a little bit of a different angle when working with the back, and that is because I am right-handed. But it is transitioning into the sides pretty nicely. So as you can see, I didn't use a 2, I didn't use a 1.5 yet. I'm going straight from that 1 open and doing clipper over comb, which saves a lot of time as opposed to going back and forth with our guards. And we're 9 minutes and 20 seconds here. So at this point, I'm like, dude, I got both sides pretty much done. All I need to worry about is a lineup and sponge, and I'm set. So I'm feeling pretty confident, but I'm going to detail a little bit more with my 1.5 open. And then we'll close it if I need to go slightly closer. And a lot of times what you'll notice is, man, you'll stress yourself out by looking at the blend and it not being perfect. But then after you do the lineup and you look at the blend and the transition again, you're like, man, you know what? This isn't that bad. And, that honestly saves me a lot of time as well when I'm able to just Step away from the blend, do the lineup, and come back. And now we're going to taper down the bottom of the faux hawk just so we could catch a nice clean line, similar to what we did with that front lineup. So I'm tapping right at the bottom with my 1.5 just to smooth it down. And now we're going to go ahead and line it up. So this specific client wanted to do a V in the back, but you always have the option of doing rounded as well. But we're going to go ahead and start our V at the bottom of his nape. And I'm not trying to take this V super high. I want to keep it as low as I can. But in order to get that V, we are going to cut off some hair towards the outside of the nape. So don't be scared to cut off, hair. And you can already see how it framed out that back blend a lot better. And it doesn't look as unblended as it originally did. And that is the power of lining it up and then coming back to the fade, because again, the lineup is like the framework to the entire thing, so it brings out any imperfections and things you might need to go back in detail. Now I'm giving you guys a far perspective once again. We're just going to continue to clean up the back. From this angle, that profile is looking nice. I do see a slight line that we need to go back and get rid of, which I'll do here in a few moments. And now what we're gonna do is grab that 1.5 after I check the focus of the camera and taper down his front lineup once again on the other side. And this will give you a better view of all the hairs that could potentially hang over the lineup, and just give us a nice clean canvas to line up. And now I feel like the tips of the hairline needed to be tapered down a little lower, so I have my one guard with the lever open, and we're just tapping at it a little more. And now we're gonna get into the lineup. So for the lineup, after I go ahead and adjust this camera, like I said, no cuts, no edits, straight raw footage all the way through. I'm realizing I have 8 minutes to spare, so we get into work. Now we're starting our lineup in the middle, and then we're gonna work our way towards whichever side we feel most comfortable. So in this scenario, I'm gonna work towards his right, and then we'll finish off on his left side. And the goal here is to keep it as natural as possible, while at the same time getting it as sharp and as crispy as possible. But just like with any lineup, you do have to dig into the hairline just slightly, right? Especially in this scenario, he has a nice hairline and a nice, forehead, to where we do not have to dig in order to get a sharp, dark, crisp line. And now we're going to start working our way towards his left corner. And as you can see, that blend is looking super clean. And watching this back, I know when I was doing it, I feel like I was rushing a lot more than I actually was. But looking back at this footage, I can tell I stayed pretty calm and composed, right? I'm not sweating and leaking because I'm just flying through the hair. What I'm really making sure to do is just make sure that everything that I do counts and moves me closer to that finished product that we desire, which means I'm not going to over detail an area or over tap an area of the lineup, right? I'm going to do what's needed and move on. Because as barbers, a lot of times we're our own worst critic, and we are really the ones who hold us back from being efficient and doing haircuts, because honestly, a lot of clients would have been fine with how your haircut looked 10-15 minutes ago. You know what I'm saying? So don't be so picky. Don't hinder yourself on one thing. Move on, and then worst case scenario, come back to detail. That is my biggest piece of advice, to speed up your time, because like we all know, time in the barbershop is money. So we want to be as effective and efficient as possible. now I see some lines and I need to go back in detail on his right side. And again, that's the power of doing the lineup. As you can see, my guy O is smiling. He's liking the way it's coming out thus far. So right there, what I had asked my client is if his parents or he wanted a part on the side, because this is a back to school haircut. And he said yeah, so we're gonna take his word and we're gonna run with it and give up a nice clean part that complements the haircut. I'm not really a fan of doing crazy intricate, you know, designs. I like simple, clean stuff that works within the haircut that we are giving. So as you can see, I started my part and I'm just rounding it to match the flow of his mohawk. So I'll start off by making my line as thin as possible, and then we'll widen it up once we get that initial shape down. And now you always want to make sure you hit both sides of the line. So I flip that trimmer around and tapped at that bottom line as well. And we're at 16 minutes, right? All we need to focus on after this is we are going to use a slight amount of enhancements, and then we're going to come in with our razor. But that part with the blend is looking super clean. Go ahead and zoom that camera out. Now we're going to go ahead and switch our razor. I'm telling you, nothing is cut. The entire process, right, once the client sat down, has been recorded. I just keep checking to make sure that the camera is in focus. And now let's go ahead and get this together. So with this razor, I'm just tapping at that line, right, trying to make it as sharp as possible. I don't want to make it thicker than needed, right? I just want to make sure that I get it nice and clean, so that way the design can last as long as it should. You can already see it made the design pop more because it got closer to the skin. Boom, I'm checking it out. And that thing is hitting. So now what we are going to do is detail just a little bit. But like I said, we are going to enhance that front lineup just slightly to darken it up, really make it pop. Me personally, I like using enhancements. So any chance that I get, I'm going to try to go ahead and use it. So right here, what I'm using is my airbrush with the Kiss and Alcohol Express mix, and I'm just gonna start by spraying it on the hairline lightly, and then I'll darken it up as needed. My guy Owen's hair is a lot darker in the winter than it is in the summer, because in the summer he spends a lot of time outside and the sun kind of bleaches, you know, his baby hairs and makes them lighter. So that's really the only reason I wanted to use the enhancement. Plus I knew it was going on YouTube, so I wanted it to look as best as it possibly could. And boom, that pretty much gets us through our lineup. Now we're gonna go ahead and blow dry, make sure we get all those hairs off. Man, look at that profile shot. I can't believe I'm 19 minutes into this haircut. So what we're gonna do is finish off this cut by dampening up the top. Then I'll get a slight amount of oil sheen just to give it some shine and some smell. And now I'm gonna use my curling sponge just to go ahead and bring those curls out, give it some texture, really make it pop off. And man, if I was able to do every single haircut that sits in my chair in 20 minutes, my boy, I would be rich. But there is power in doing efficient, quality haircuts. You can really make tons of money. So if you're a barber and you've been doing this for a while, you feel like your skills are on point, I challenge you to try to speed up your haircuts. Try to get people in and out, you know, as efficiently as possible while still giving them quality. And once you do that, man, come back to this video, drop a comment, and let me know how much you made, the most you made in a day, in a week, in a month. I'm not even going to cut to the after. I'm just going to pull it straight off the tripod to show you. But as you can see, man, this is the cut. All right, so hopefully this video helps you in some way, shape, or form. And like I said, if you want my system of cutting and you want to go a little more in depth, join Drake Clipper Hands Academy by tapping the link in my bio. But like always, peace.